Let me feel the way I used to feel when life was beautiful and all the things were real. Please God, I beg for innocence. Please give me back my sight and let the shrillness of the cold restore my wonderland. Freezing colder hanging from my shoulder, reaching 6 feet deeper. I have grown so insecure. Save me. Let me feel the way I used to feel when life was beautiful and all the things were real. Please God, I beg for innocence. Please give me back my sight and let the shrillness of the cold restore my wonderland.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Big Blend Radio with Nancy and Lisa. This is our New Music Friday show, and that means there's new music, and there's new music. It's called From Womb to Tomb. You just heard I Am Beyond, and that is the second track from this album, From Womb to Tomb. It's by Lillian Axe, and it is out today, August 19th. We're recording a few days beforehand, but it is out now through Global Rock Records. So you can go to globalrockrecords.com or go to lillianaxe.com. And we're super stoked to have Steve Blaze on the show with us today. He's an insanely badass guitarist and one of the founding members, or you're a founding member. You started this, right? You're like, there's two of you from the very beginning, right?
Yes, I formed the band. We like to put a date. It was really like early '83, but officially Halloween night of 1983.
Halloween.
Yeah,
Cool.
who would have guessed? With a name like Lillian Axe, and then Michael Maxx, the original bass player. He was with me for about the first 4 years. When I got signed to MCA, he didn't go on with me. He was dealing with stuff personally, and then here we are years later. About 8 years ago, he's back with me again, and Lillian. So we had a little hiatus from each other, but now we're back, and it's amazing to have him back. He's the best.
Oh man, I listening to the album, Nancy and I both are like, I need to get back in the car, which is not hard. We'll be doing it in a couple days. because it's one of those albums, you know, I told Nancy, I'm like, it's one of those, you need to sit and trip, you know, and she goes, like, this is trippy music. And I'm like, it's trippy hardcore. Like it is an album where you need to get in the car and not don't have the kids wake you. Nobody needs to interrupt you. You need to just get in the zone. And Nancy,
I see
you're trippy, man.
pictures. I have a whole movie in my head.
You know, it's funny I say that because it was it's loosely, I say loosely, but it's conceptual. As really all of our records are somewhat, but this is probably the most conceptual, but it's not conceptual in the way that a lot of concept albums are based around an event or a story or like a particular thing. This is, I wanted to write this about the span of an individual's life from birth and the creation of the soul all the way to heaven, and all of the lessons chronologically in that the individuals go through. Now, we all have different paths in our lives, but I think these main lessons or comprehensions, or what you want to call them, are similar in all of our lives, no matter what our path are. You know, like we starts off with, the first thing you hear is the actual heartbeat of an unborn child, which is not standard boom, 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 boom. It's a swooshing kind of sound. That's the actual sound. And it goes into the birth of the child, which is the creation of the entity of the soul that's going to live, in my opinion, forever. So as you go, it starts then the things and the recollections and memories and ideas and learnings from being a child all the way to the second to last song, From the Mountaintops, is where the individual is ready to pass, or at that point later in life where that clarity hits you, where you understand that we're not supposed to understand. And then it goes into Ascension, which is the final track, Moving On. And it's a very emotional record. It's an hour and 7 minutes. And I said that in that press release, that I urge you to listen to this from the beginning, when you have an hour and 7 minutes to sit down, absorb it, crank it up in the car, and not be distracted, because it's really, it's like a movie. It's like a novel. And I mean, of course, chapter, but to get the full gist of everything from the beginning, you have to listen to it in one long piece. And like you said, Nancy, you see visuals with it. It's very visual. And I mean, I laugh because I'm like, I tell people, I say, okay, we have heartbeats, we have timpanis, we have cellos, we have
choirs,
tubular, maggots, flies, dragons, cuckoo clock. And I said, oh yeah, and after about 30 years, we actually have a band in there too. So it was ambitious, but it really did. It came out, it exceeded my expectations. I hear everything in my head before it's even out or even created. And I wanted it to be like this, but it wound up even better than I anticipated in my head when we first started out with it.
It's funny, what I saw was how plants and animals are looking at humans from day one, from the creation of the earth. The heartbeat to me was the creation of the earth and how things progressed with the plants and animals. And then we came along, and then how it has changed because of what we've done while they watched. That's where my mind went.
See, that's the beauty of music, man.
Yeah.
I love that.
And that is a great interpretation. It's very similar, I wanted to include as many things as I could. There are some specific references to some paranormal things I experienced in my life and some things that I witnessed. You're talking about pets. One thing I did not want to leave out is how important in our lives the earth and animals and living things that are not human. To me, they're as important of God's creations as we are. And so, mental piece called Endless Green Fields, and that there was a vision. We just Yeah, I have a lot of pets. I have snakes, lizards, dogs, cats, uh, turtles, tortoises, birds. I have a ton of stuff, right? And we lost a cat that my wife had a year before we met, but 17 years. Our
Ooh.
had this one cat named Layla, and she was a bobtail Maxx, and she passed away, and it was very difficult for us.
Yeah.
We've lost several cats over the years, but this one was because we had her the longest. So I wanted to include this idea in the song, and so I wrote "Endless Green Fields" because I did not want to do the typical Rainbow Bridge thing, you know, the story of the bridge, the poem, and but I wanted something, and I had this vision of when we get to heaven, these endless green fields with all of our pets and animals.
Yeah.
And butterflies.
Butterflies, bugs, roaches, even maggots.
Yeah, we gotta have the maggots. Hey, listen, maggots are good. They recycle the earth and they poop it out.
Exactly.
Well, they're kind of cute. If you look at their face, they're kind of cute.
So, you know, hey, what do you know? Why not do for a purpose? Right? So that's what I wrote that instrumental piece for. I visioned, you know, Layla and all of the other pets that we've lost running through their bodies whole again. So
I think they come back and talk to us. I really do. I know that we kind of have some similar beliefs on that. We all do it. You know, we've lost a lot of, you know, pets over the years, and now we pet sit as we travel. And bed and breakfast sit, Steve and Karen. Line in the rows, everybody. We'll see you soon. Well, they come to see you today where this airs. We're taking care of their inn. This is crazy. It's bass backwards, but we should have all gone together. But anyway, they didn't tell me where they were going. Otherwise, we would have said, no, you need to go find somebody else. But
we're all going.
I know, but the animal thing, you know, I think if we don't understand nature, like they say, if someone is cruel to a pet or an animal, look how cruel they are to human beings later in life. If you're going to be cruel to an animal, that's like that gateway to hurt human beings. And I don't know, I think they are part of our family. And I know sometimes like I don't know, I always feel like I could, you know, when someone has passed on, I still have a conversation with them. Maybe I'm whacked out, I don't know, but I do. You can have these conversations with people who have passed, and if it's just our own brain and soul talking to them, so what? Same thing with animals, like pets. I see them, or you'll see, they say when you see a pet that really reminds you of a pet you had, it's your pet saying hello and coming through another one. I mean, so I think music, when you do like an album like this, From Womb to Tomb, there's a cyclical thing. It's not like the tomb just ends. It is a circle. I mean, you've got the two trees, and this is what I love about you guys in your music. And then you everything's a paradox. You always seem to say like everything's cyclical. Lillian Axe, right? Just even the name. Listen, the old lady holding the axe is still one of the best. I'm like, I'm gonna get you. You know.
Well, but like with the songs and the record, and you know, a couple of times I've heard, you know, well, wow, these are really like kind of doomy and gloomy on some of these songs, and I'm like, okay, like which one? The Fall of the Human Condition. Well, that's an observation, and it's very obvious that the human condition failed us throughout the course of man, and especially recently. To read the lyrics and pay attention, I always come out on the other side. There's always a silver lining that's within us to overcome these things. It's not there's doom and gloom, and man needs to get his act together, but man has the ability to do so. And it starts off with your daily simple actions, saying hello, being polite, opening doors, helping somebody that's in need. You know, those things like that can entirely change the course of another human being's life. And sometimes we need those little things too for us to get through our times. But so even though you know, I don't beat around the bush, I'm not gonna sit there and sugarcoat stuff. Yeah, The Fall of the Human Condition, Dance of the Maggots, The Golden Dragon. Yeah, they are about different parts of your life where you learn about things that aren't all, you know, Pinocchio and unicorns. There's
exactly
that we have to, that we become knowledgeable of, but we have to know that we can overcome them. And we do it through becoming as strong as we can individually, and living going down the right path. So
Yeah. Migrating north
Mhm.
really kind of resonated with me, and it felt, and maybe
Mhm.
it is just, I always think of birds and stuff, but there was just a feeling of hope in there, you know?
Mhm.
It just, there was a vibe in there that I kept going back to that song, and I don't know what it is about it, but you guys also, through the album, you have, the cuckoos and things, like
I
cuckoo
love
clock. I'm
that.
like, wakey, wakey.
Mhm.
But there's the melodies in this, and the harmonies are insanely, just the harmonies
It's
are
so
just,
good.
I mean, it's amazing what you guys do. And there's a balance and dynamic that just when your guitar comes in, it's like you guys know where to hit it hard and where to lay back. And so that you feel like it does have an embryonic feel, like all the way. It
Mhm.
really does, even though there's times to jolt you out of that little vibe and say, well, this is life, bitches. You
right.
know?
Well, I
So,
think
Mhm.
the dynamic aspect is important because I wanted to make sure that we hit the dynamics. As you know, in a lot of these songs, you go light to dark and heavy to
mhm,
soft and back and
Mhm.
forth. And to be able to capture the dynamic is not just a matter of just boosting a level and making something louder.
right.
It's got to be within the piece, within the performance, within the layers of the music. And a lot of people will, if I want to boost a part, just hit the level up, make it a little louder. That's not boosting the dynamic at all.
Mhm.
And so the good part about it is that we had an amazing engineer, and we were all on the same page, and I didn't really have any obstacles or parameters that I had to stay within. We wanted to texture everything. We wanted to make sure at the end of the song that the emotional aspect and the music complemented the lyrics and vice versa, and that the dynamic was powerful. So I mean, and so we do rough mixes and stuff. And at first, whenever we get mixes back, I just want you throwing. I want Kent, the engineer, just put them up there. Don't work with levels. Just give me the tracks all even across the board, so that I can hear if the tracks are working, and if they're dynamic on their own, then everything else, once it's EQ'd and compressed and
Mhm.
thing is put in its place, it's gonna work. And so we
Mhm.
did. So when we started listening back, and I had close friends that will tell me if it's something they don't like or not, and they would put their arms up and then point to their arms. See that? See the goosebumps? Or like No Problem from the Mountaintops and Ascension. There were multiple people crying, shedding tears at the end of it. And that's like, they're really getting
You
it.
got
They're
it.
really getting. So that was kind of our barometer. I mean, we
Mhm.
knew that this album's unique. It's different. It's not a lot of stuff like this out there, and it's a testament to how good these guys in my band are, and how good of a job Kent was, and how much I look at it like it's not just about us. I look at the ability to make a great record comes from the people around me, my family, my friends, the fans, because I got kind of get in tune with what moves them, and the more feedback I get, the more I understand what will move somebody and what's important. And like with you guys, you're not asking me, "Oh, how'd you come up with the name?" And I like the name of this song or this that. You guys get it.
Mhm.
You when you get, and I think that the majority of people on this planet, if they can get beyond their daily routines and take the time and sit, I think this album is going to really move people. I think it's going to.
I think it's
I
it's
agree.
it's a huge it's
Mhm.
a huge album. It's epic. That is the word for it, I think, because it does
Mhm.
connect with what we're all going through. And after this pandemic, it's got to be awesome for you guys to perform live, though. Getting out and that energy swap that happens between live and everyone being in that same place together and experiencing something together. That's the musical joy of it. But this is an epic album where people like Nancy can trip off on nature. I can sit there and actually see maggots and go, that's cool, man. Leave that alone. But you know, we're all different. We're all different. That's the beauty of music, right? Of a concept album, we're allowed to take it where we want as a listener and as the audience. And but
Sure.
honestly, Nancy's idea of this movie, like she'd love to see it as a full start to end movie. She's always talking about rock operas. She wants like full blown rock operas,
Yeah.
not a recreation of a thing, but I think it would be so damn cool. And I know people, when you go perform, like, today when this airs, you're performing up in Gatlinburg, and people are going to want you to play old favorites and things
Right.
like that. But how cool would it be to take this whole album and play it start to finish with like some of the video footage, like having maggots behind you
Yeah.
and mountaintops and endless green fields and cuckoos coming out, like kind of like a
Yeah.
Pink Floyd experience, but not Pink Floyd. It's you guys.
And take
Would
it
you
one
ever
step.
consider doing this?
We have a choir and an orchestra behind
Yeah,
it
yeah.
too,
Yes.
because there's a lot of I like to put pads underneath guitars. I like to to make up for those rich frequencies that just kind of tingle you when you're listening to it. As you guys also noticed, there's several songs that have choirs on this album. That choir is actually the Moron Tabernacle Choir, which is me and
No.
Brent.
Moron, because I was like,
I was gonna say.
I was going, oh my God, they're calling Mormons morons. I'm going to get the
I'm like,
emails,
that's
and I don't
funny.
care.
No,
But
the Moron Tabernacle Choir is
Oh my
no
God,
way,
yeah.
you guys did that?
me.
Holy cow!
But that is
That's
all.
fun.
We overdubbed. I think I want to say there are 54 tracks on each of the choir, 108 voices, and 8 separate harmonies.
Holy
and we
cow.
went from baritone to please take the vice grip off of me. We were we wanted to create a choir, and
Cool.
did it. As I said, it's got to sound authentic.
Wow. Well, you
and
got
we did.
us on that.
Yeah.
You really, I was like, how did you do that? Especially thinking of the pandemic before. You guys must have been while you were did you record this all during the pandemic to make it all happen?
Yeah. Most people think that, we hired a real choir and did, so why do we have to do that? First of all, that would be, that would be painstaking, but let's just take the time and build it ourselves. So we did. So we took it
That's way cool.
one load of high harmonies, and we stacked it like 5 or 6 times, 2 voices. So you got each harmony as like 10
What
to
a great
12
exercise, though.
and implement that in this big giant kind of Egyptian heavy song with on Dance of the Maggots, and then at the very choir and Ascension, and and From the Mountaintops, that's what it was. It was the other one. And it really worked. I'm so proud of all these guys for what they created and what so many people involved in. I just really want to move the world with this thing.
Well, you said the word rich texture, like if you listen to that, the frequencies, but it, there's a texture to this. And so many times you'll hear like hard rock and it's really great, but there's an emptiness and like almost a shrillness. And that emptiness to me is what kind of, come on, there, you kind of lose that dynamic and the texture. So it's like painting to me. And when you listen to this, to me, I was like, God, these guys are so good. These are so, I'm telling everybody, like, damn it. And it's because it is like a painting. You do have this
layers.
It is the layers, and it's not that emptiness where that emptiness can actually hurt a listener's hearing. You know what I mean?
No, there are things we wanted to do was create soundscape. But those records that you listen to, and the music is great, and you love the songs, but it
it doesn't lock into the soul.
Oh God, it's too mid-rangey, it's too high. The kick, the end's not there. That just kind of takes away a little bit sometimes from the beauty of the material. So I wanted to make sure that we created a soundscape that was warm. So when you heard it, you felt like these frequencies were going through you. So we did. So we got Ted Jensen to master the album. Ted Jensen has done, if you look Ted Jensen up, he's done, if you look at it, you go, oh my God, he did that. He's done thousands of, did Hotel California, Billy Joel, The Strangers. He's done Madonna, Guns N' Roses, up and down. And so we were like, you know, he really knows how to, what he did was he took these great mixes and he didn't change the EQing, so to speak. He did nothing but like amplify it up, spread it out, and keep it natural. And it sounds so good. And after we decided to get him, we're like, oh man, this is great. He's one of the best in the world. The new Ghost album came out, and I'm a fan of Ghost and their music. And a lot of people have said that, you know, stylistically, musically, there's some similarities to the way they're going now, because they're out of the box, and they have big vocals and keyboards, and it's
Yeah, they
catchy.
changed up too. They changed up their band. The Priest came out of them, and they were just on our show. Yeah.
I love those guys, but Ted Jensen, come to find out, he just mastered the new Ghost record.
Wow.
Which
Cool.
so,
Wow.
God, this is some guidance from God, putting us with the right people at the right time. So the album, it really is the best sounding record that we've ever done. And you know, EQ wise, it is, so you can crank it up and it doesn't break up. It just kind of gets wider and wider, and it's a soundscape. So
it is. And I think we need it now. I think as an audience, we need that stuff that propels us forward and feels good at the same time, but also recognizes life isn't pretty at times, you know what I mean? But it can be. So you've got all those elements in there, the human condition, which we were, you know, really it is. You guys are going to go to Europe again, and you haven't been there for a while, right? You're going to Scotland, is it? Scotland, England?
7 dates in the UK. The last time we were in Europe, we did mostly East Europe, right? So Germany, Hungary, Czech Republic, etc. We only did one festival in the UK. So this time it's all Scotland, Wales, and England. 7 dates. We do this Gatlinburg Monsters on the Mountain Festival on Friday the 19th, the day the record comes out, and then, which is today.
Yeah, let's just lie. This is live right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna be cooler weather by then, right? Yeah.
Yes. We go to on the drive to Atlanta, and then we fly straight to London and do 7 days in a row.
Oh, that's awesome.
Cool.
We have a band called Riot Act, which is
yeah. They've been on our show too. They're cool.
Riot. Oh, I was a big fan of Riot's when I was in high school. I had all the vinyl and stuff. So they're going to be out with us, and a band called Kane from the UK. So we're thrilled about it. To go do it. Just it's going to be guerrilla touring, in and out, you know, just like 7 days in a row, boom, then back home. And then
that's
back on
awesome. It. And so you're going to tour the US during the fall, do you think?
Yeah, we have dates set up, but we don't have anything like long tour wise set up yet. We're kind of waiting what's going on, kind of in the middle of like negotiating a new management deal. So we're going to see how that goes, and then see, you know, how things develop right when the record comes out. And we've got some dates set up between now and the end of the year, but we haven't latched on to any kind of specific tour yet, because I don't know what our next step's going to be yet.
Yeah. I want to go back to your roots in New Orleans, because we spent a lot of time in Louisiana, and I had no idea you came from there. And I was like, Louisiana Hall of Fame of Music. And I was like, New Orleans. And how many people would think that a hard rockin' band would come out of New Orleans? You know what I mean? There's that, like, this is how it is. And Louisiana to me has this, just, it is a jambalaya of music because of the culture. And I love, I mean, if we ever stop touring, Louisiana's pretty much kind of on our radar to chill out. Well, maybe not chill, sweat it out, you know, but
yeah.
But I mean, it's amazing about Louisiana. I mean, I'm trying to think of heavy metal, like as close as I got was Ted Benoit, but no, you know, I just never thought of anybody hard rock out of there, and that's my
Well,
fault. But
we were the first hard rock band to get inducted, but there's a band, you heard of the band Zebra, right?
mm, no, no,
Haven't heard of,
no.
check out Zebra. Zebra was around before we even started, and they got inducted after, but they just did the M3 festival with us. They're good friends of ours. I was in grammar school going to see them play.
Oh man.
And they've been around. They started off as this amazing Led Zeppelin type tribute band, and
Cool.
then they got signed to Atlantic. They have like the highest selling debut album on Atlantic, I guess, quickest highest selling album. But they've done several albums, and they're pretty well known. Check into them, and they're
Cool.
really they're talented 3-piece band, but they're still around. They still play, and we're good friends with these guys. But they're another hard rock band, and there's a band called Crowbar, which is from here, which is kind of heavier. They call it like sludge metal, something like that.
I like that.
But Kurt Winstein, good friend of ours, and Crowbar is from down here, and they do very well. They play a lot overseas as well too. But those are the bands from Louisiana. You're right. There's a lot of Zydeco and blues and swamp boogie kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The hard rock never really, truthfully, ever got its just due. Louisiana, we had to fight for everything. I used to get upset because we'd have new records coming out or tours or getting ready to go to Europe or Japan, and it was like pulling teeth to get like the local newspapers and TV station, radio stations to do support us or Zebra.
Wow.
I would say it's great to be from here, and I'm honored to be in the Hall of Fame. As a matter of fact, I got inducted personally as well. So I don't know. I think I'm the only 2-time inductee in there, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a great honor, but the true honor is our fans in Louisiana that have 30 something years that still are supporting us now. So that's it. That Louisiana's.
We go to Natchitoches a lot. We haven't done much in New Orleans, but we will be. We're doing a project. There's a historic highway that goes from Winnipeg to New Orleans called the Jefferson Highway. It was formed in 1915, like Route 66, right? It was the vacation route, and it's having a revival of bringing this road back for road tripping. And so from Winnipeg, Canada. It was the very first international highway. And so we're actually starting a whole like magazine thing on this. We're in because road tripping is cool and it connects people. And what goes with road tripping better than anything? Music. So of course we did one show just on jazz, and we couldn't even get past like just the beginning of, it's just so huge when you think you're going through Minnesota, you're going through Kansas City and all of this. And as soon as I saw New Orleans, I was like, holy cow, we've got to do hard rock from Winnipeg to New Orleans and do like a playlist. We should do shows. We need to do a whole thing because it is automatically jazz. And I'm not knocking jazz because jazz is like, roots music. And I dig it. But we need to do, as soon as I saw you there, I was like, no one's even thinking this. We're thinking,
that would work really well.
Yeah. So as soon as I saw that, so I'm going to keep you posted. When we do this, we should do a show with all the hard rockers for the whole highway.
That would be great. Hey, I can ever help you guys out with anything that you're doing, because you sound like you guys are doing some amazing stuff. So count me in. I'll be part of it.
We're nuts.
Exactly.
That's a great idea, though.
5 these days.
Let's rock down the highway, man. Seriously, that's what's going to happen. That's like, because everyone, it's all history and everything, which we are big into. And we're doing a whole haunted thing too. We're doing ghosts on the highway.
Ghosts.
We're doing ghosts for sure. So we'll keep in touch on that too. We're doing a whole, apparently there's a town it is the Halloween town. Oh, Archon. I have to look it up again, but is it Akron?
I don't know. Akron, Ohio?
Yeah, Ohio, it is the
Yeah.
Halloween, it is the most haunted town or something. So we need to go.
Ooh. Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, there's a place in I think it's Franklinton, Louisiana.
Hmm.
And it's called the Myrtles Plantation. The Myrtles Plantation will be, if you look it up, it's, some people call it the most haunted location in the country. It's always in the top 10.
Cool.
And so since I ghost hunt, HGTV came down to do a special on it, the 10 most haunted places in America. And they asked myself and my number 2 guy in my ghost hunting team to go on their show. And we did a ghost hunt there and found all this evidence and got these EVPs, etc. And they used about 10 seconds of it.
Oh.
But we're on there. But the Myrtles Plantation, look it up. That's a place you guys need to go. It's like
Cool.
I guess you could say it's a bed and breakfast, but it's a hotel. But it's several hundred years old, and everybody that goes there, there's so much. It's really haunted. I'm not gonna lie.
You know, if you go to in Louisiana in Ritter, which is near Leesville, it's
The Ritter.
DeRitter. Thank you.
Mhm.
DeRitter. There is a Gothic jail. And I'm not
Yeah.
kidding. It's Gothic as hell. You would not
Wait.
know it was a jail.
Not the one with the
Yes.
The spiral staircase
Yes.
that goes up and the hanging noose.
Have you been in there?
investigated that place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next
Did you
door-
get anything? Because I felt someone's hand on the back
Yeah.
of my head going up the steps, and it freaked the heck out of me. And then they took us next door to the Chamber building, which Chamber
the
of
doll-
Commerce.
Ah, the
And there's all
dolls,
the
and
doll
that's
collections with all
creepy.
the dolls. Did you see
That's
that?
creepy.
Doll Museum. Yeah, I was in there by myself in the pitch black, and we did investigations. We didn't pick up anything in the doll museum, but we use an SLS Connect camera, which picks up it's like the Xbox technology.
Uh-huh.
Picks and does a dot matrix so you can see what it forms. And we had
Ooh.
individual spirit go from one side of the jail cell and walk right towards me and walk past me. But yeah, we've investigated. Great
Cool.
place.
That's where that guy
Wow.
was hanged from the top.
Yeah.
And it looks like you're in a lighthouse. And then
Still
they
there.
carried him out with people and
Yep.
people watching. People used to go to picnics. Like, there's a hanging. Let's go to the
So
park
weird.
and have
I
a
know.
picnic.
And they take their kids. I mean,
Yeah, we were middle skating, and I had them like close me in one of those little tiny cells in the pitch black with, in the middle of the summertime with no air. It was
Oh.
No way.
Oh,
So
and-
what got you into this? Like, what, I mean, is it from like living in New Orleans with, all the voodoo magic, or was it just curiosity, or?
when I was a kid, I had some things happen to me. Actually, Migrating North is about the introduction to the paranormal.
Maybe that's
not
why
just
like it resonates
go-
with me.
but paranormal as far as like God and other and the spiritual other dimensions too as well. And
Sure.
so when I was a kid, I had things occurred to me that I touched on in Migrating North, things that I saw that other people didn't. So I've always been in tune with it. But about 8 years ago, maybe 8 or 9 years ago, I was approached by a production company that wanted to do a reality show. The guitar player / ghost hunter, because they had read a couple of interviews and talked about, how interested I was in the paranormal. So I put a team together, and over the years, it developed into several different types of shows. And I formed a team called The Veil, and I have 7 people on the team, and we do paranormal investigations. And the people on my team, a few of them have been doing it for 30 somewhat years. And we have a NASA scientist. We have the head of product development for PV Electronics, have my
Wow,
brother
Dang.
manager, who are our equipment guys. I have a medium, very
cool.
well. And my number 2 guy has been a consultant for the Myrtles for 30 years. And he's
Wow.
he's a veteran of the paranormal wars. He's been around for everything. So we have 7 people on our team, and we do, as a matter of fact, everything from helping people in their residences to going to major haunted locations. We've got a documentary that's being edited right now that hopefully will be out by the end of the year.
Oh, you
on
better
amazing-
come back on with that.
Yeah,
I want to watch that,
we
man.
want to see.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's hopefully that'll be done by the end of the year. And it's really it was amazing investigation. It was a big location, and did it. And it actually, we did the actual investigation about a year ago. So we've been working on it ever since then. There's a lot more to it because it's a unique type of, it's not just your normal
I
documentary.
want to send you guys
know-
footage that we have.
Okay.
Because we've gone into places, and I've got like we were in Columbia, California, and it was the City Hotel is actually one of the most haunted
Mhm.
places. It's an old gold rush town, one of the most oldest
Oh, wow.
standing ones. And there was a young girl, she's dressed up in period dress, taking people around, and apparently the kitchen has been on all these paranormal shows and pots fly and everything. We didn't feel anything in there, and having gone through some experiences personally too, you kind of know when something's there, and then you try to make sure you're not off the rocker, but I think you know when something is weird and up, right? You just
Yeah.
know.
Mm.
And so I'm not feeling anything. I went upstairs, I'm like, dude, and I'm feeling something. So Nancy and the lady was taking us on the tour, went out so I could photograph this girl dressed behind the lobby counter or whatever, as though she's checking
Right.
people in. I took the photograph. Yeah, I don't see anything. I get it back, and there's a shadow of a
There's
person
a
with a top
person.
hat behind
No.
her, dude.
It's so
I've
cool.
got stuff like that in like
Yeah.
Tombstone, Arizona. I've got
Do you
like,
remember, Lisa, the German occupation during the
Yep.
occupation?
occupation in Guernsey in the Channel
and
Islands.
There's a
Wow.
prison. There's an underground prison. Well,
That
it's
was a hospital, same thing.
but it has bars. It's a
And-
prison. It was a hospital that took in anybody injured in the war in this tiny little island. And so the hospital beds are still there. And the
You can go
equipment's
there and do
still
your
there.
thing. I'm never walking in there
No,
again.
that was probably
Mm-mm.
the
Hell no.
creepiest place.
But
And the walls are dripping and there's moss growing down. It's really cool. But when you go in there, you can feel that.
you
You
can,
yeah.
There's
yeah,
more
I
than
mean, because I
one.
try to do
There's
as much
more
as I
than
can
one. There's a
on
whole bunch
our
of them.
cameras and recording device. We've had ghosts come through on our radio show doing live broadcasts from haunted
Yeah.
places,
Yeah.
where all of a sudden a voice and a guy starts talking out of nowhere. You're like, holy cow, what was that? man?"
It's like, who
But
is that?
Do you think understanding the paranormal and actually, putting yourself in those places and doing the
Yeah.
documentation and having some experience, which once you step into that zone, it's kind of like you realize just how infinite the universe is, right?
Mhm.
And it's huge. Do you think that influences your music? Obviously this album, right? But does it
does.
influence, like, takes away barriers and all that kind of stuff? Does that help you?
Yeah, all these things. And I tell people all the time, I said, they're like, what are your influences? I'm like, everything. I
Mhm.
said, everything influences me. If I walk outside right now and look at a tree, I go, oh, that's pretty. All that information, everything that we either see, hear, smell, taste, sense, whatever, all is stored up in our little, you see,
Mhm.
and I say that the brain is really like our hard drive, but I think everything we experience is stored in our soul,
Mhm.
lack of a better way to do it. It's not a physical thing. It's like once you experience something, it's there for eternity. That may be way hard to bring out because, I mean, think about it. Everything you've ever sensed since your existence is a massive amount of information, right? But everything does. And as you see and hear and feel and taste and touch things, and you have conversations with people, meet people, all those things occur. Everything you think and how you react and what your heart and mind
Mhm.
tell you is all affected by every little tiny thing. Every piece of food you ever ate has affected your some kind of way. Everything, every conversation with an individual has a small, tiny piece in forming who you are. So, and
Yeah, that's
how,
true. It's
I've-
true because you have emotions. It's not like your brain just photographs everything. So you read something, you heard something, you see something, and your brain assimilates it and remembers it, whether or not you can personally find it later. I always think of the brain as this huge file cabinet. And
Right.
sometimes you have to throw stuff out of the file cabinet to make room for new stuff.
Well, just how to utilize full potential. That's the great part, you know.
Mhm.
Mhm.
We don't understand how to do, and that's like in From the Mountaintops. And if you listen to the spoken thing right before that, it's called Finally Clarity. That when Brent talks, and my words are, you know, that we really weren't meant to understand everything. This is just the beginning of the journey. Take your time, relax, chill out.
Mhm.
It's fine. But once you get that clarity, that you realize that, hey, don't try to know and learn everything, just absorb it. It'll come in time. Then you get some clarity. And that's what Mountaintops is about, with that, standing on that mountaintop, looking over creation and
Mhm.
going, yeah, I'm absorbing and in as much as I possibly can here. But at the end of the day, this is just the start. So embrace it.
Yeah, energy never
maybe-
dies, right?
Maybe we do just keep coming back
I
in different
hope-
forms.
I would not have
Yeah.
a problem. Well, I hope that we're not coming back and not cognizant of, like, I wouldn't want to come back as somebody else and not know
Not remember.
me.
yeah, I don't want to
right?
start
Yeah.
over again. I don't want to
I
start
don't want-
over.
You know, that's when you hear people doing that. Have you ever seen the movie What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams?
Oh yeah. Oh my God, I
Oh.
love that movie. And then
Oh,
the
it's
art and the paint and everything. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
At the end of it, that's what happens. They have the opportunity they meet up in heaven, but they have the opportunity to go back and start all over and do it again. And they go, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. But it kind of bummed me out, because it's like, are they going to start all over and they're going to forget about everything that they
Yeah.
had?
Yeah. I
so
don't.
much-
I want to build on what
Mm.
I've already
Well,
built.
then
You know what I
what
mean?
i-
Man,
what
I'm
is-
Yeah.
just tired, man. I'm
But
tired.
then deja vu. I always think of deja vu as that's from a past life. The memory
I-
from a past life.
I think that deja vu is certain elements of whatever that deja vu scene is that you have, that moment. I think that it is either, if you haven't been there before, you've seen or witnessed something that triggers a similar
Mm,
memory, that kind of like, wow, this is just really familiar. So
Yeah.
I don't necessarily, and some people do think that it's from a prior life,
Mm,
but I don't, my personal belief, I think it's something that triggers, you've either been there or seen it or seen something very similar to it, because I've had that happen to me, and then I kind of analyze it and I'm like, oh, this reminds me of this other thing over here that was similar to that. So I don't know. We'll
Well,
we'll find.
I call it
Either.
deja vu dust, as we travel so much, and sometimes you go
Right.
back to a place. So I always say to Nancy, we're always losing our skin cells wherever we go, right? So I'm like, we're planting our deja vu dust as we travel. It's like
It's
not
okay.
dust mite, but it is. It's true. So I call it deja vu dust, because you can go back to a town and you haven't been there for 10, 20 years, and you already get the smell, the feel, and it could have completely changed and built up or whatever, but you're still going to have this ping in your system, like this
Mm.
this bzzz, I don't know. You're gonna have that sense of that spot where you were when you dropped your dust, your deja vu dust. I don't know how to explain it, but it knows you're there and it's saying, I'm here, you were there. So anyway, none of us thought we were going to get into this today, but
This
it's
is
been a
interesting.
fantastic conversation. And really, Steve, fantastic album. So
Mhm.
excited. So glad you were on the show today. Please keep us posted on new albums and your documentary.
Yeah.
Everyone, go get it. The album is out today, August 19th,
Yeah.
2022. Go get it From Womb to Tomb. LillianAxe.com is the website. They're on Facebook, all those places. Also go to globalrockrecords.com. We want to thank our good friends at the Lion and the Rose Bed and Breakfast in Asheville in the historic Montford district, which is where you can also go to the historic graveyard and see the resting place of O. Henry and Thomas Wolfe, great writers. And also keep up with us at bigblendradio.com. We're going to close with the final track on the album, which is Ascension. Thank you so much, Steve. It's been a real
Thanks, Steve.
pleasure.
It's fun.
Same here. Thank you guys very much. And we'll talk soon. Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks.